Hello there, Pet Nation. It's so funny. Yesterday morning, I came into the clinic really early, and I wanted to do a video about this next subject matter. It's about the controversy of the keynote speaker at this year's Atlantic Coast Veterinary Conference. And so I started doing the video, and Max got involved, and I hadn't had my morning coffee, and it just went to pot, as you can see here. Good morning, everyone. I got to the office early this morning. Me and Max are just hanging out. So before I look at my blood work, I thought I wanted to address some of this issue here going on. Oh, it's not even on the screen. His tail's right in my face here, but it's not on the screen, which is great. So I just wanted to address some of the... And so then I decided, okay, so I had a busy work day, went home, did a little swimming, ate some dinner. After dinner, Mini T's getting ready for bed, so I figured, okay, let me just pop out this video. So that's why I'm looking the way I look. Enjoy. Hey there, Michael Dr. T. Tequila, and right now I'd like to discuss with you the controversy that surrounds the Atlantic Coast Veterinary Conference keynote speaker, Dr. Jeff Rocky Mountain Vet. I've read a bunch of concerns fellow colleagues of mine have posted, and I wanted to address some things and just give you my thoughts on that. What I'd like to talk about is some of the controversial issues that I feel are relevant, and also what the traits or qualities of a keynote speaker that I feel would be important in any profession, but in the veterinary profession as well. So I think that, we have to talk about what a keynote speaker is, and keynote speaker by definition is the person who gives the key presentation of the meeting. If you look at some definitions, it's something where they have to give the key address to basically give the synopsis of what the meeting is about, the whole theme, so to speak, of the meeting. That person should be inspiring. That person should be able to motivate me as an individual and my profession as a whole. I think that that's important. And if you have even those beneficial qualities, you're going to motivate someone who's not even in the veterinary profession. I understand. In this particular case, I have a great understanding of why Dr. Jeff was picked. I think that if you look at last year's ACVC conference, which I was there, I attended, the attendance was down. It was down big time. And there's other conferences going on, another local conference. New York Vet is in the area, and they drew a lot of the people that year. So I understand, and as I understand, ACVC is under new ownership, and so they're looking for a new way of probably getting some sort of pull, drive to that. I think that one whole issue here is that the keynote speaker this year is controversial, and in my opinion, I think you have to look at what makes a speaker controversial. And I think that a good speaker that's controversial is someone who has an idea, a concept, does something that right now is misunderstood in any profession, but later on turns out to be the most brilliant thing ever. And I think that is a good controversial thing to be. Not that you're controversial because, I can't even say the word, but not that you're controversial because there are concerns about how you do things in the current world, things that are not up to the standards of care, and we'll get into that. So I think that what I consider controversial, when I was finishing veterinary medicine, there was a correction of a cruciate ligament rupture, the TPLO, and the whole way that thing was designed, the person wasn't even a surgeon, designed that, and there was a lot of talk and controversy about that. But when they actually did the analysis and they looked at the medical benefits of this in the study, it turns out this is awesome. It's the standard of care now, and I think that is so had the inventor of that system give a talk initially when they had that concept in mind, I think there'd be a lot of disgruntled people listening, but fast forward, everything's fine. So that's what I mean by something that is beneficial to the profession as a whole. I think that, to me, that's the example of that. And I get it. If you're looking for that, what I'm going to call pop culture or trendy or pull or drive from the media, the commercial pull, honestly, I can think of other people that could be asked. Maybe they said no. Maybe they're asked and said no. I don't know. But classmate of mine, you may know her, Michelle Oakley, Yukon vet. We actually went to vet school together. And so I can personally vouch for her as a person and her as a clinician. She graduated very high, if not top in the class, very high in the class. During that time, during vet school, she basically had a child. I remember we were involved in ultrasounding that child with the large animal ultrasound thing. But she was cool about that and everything. And so now you see her on the show, and when I watch the show, I'm not really worried about medical standards of care there. Clearly there's an entertainment value, but that's given for any show. I think that, you have to have some drive that way, but there's not a concern about the standards of medical care. She's just brilliant. She's great. So I think that that is a great example of someone that I would say from the TV world is great. Other people that come to mind, Justine Lee, Vet Girl, Ernie Ward, Marty Becker, Andy Rourke, Danny McVetti, and Mary Gardner. I think those people that, to me, are people that inspire me on many levels, that are very famous amongst our profession, that I don't think they do anything that's medically controversial, and I believe they all meet standards of care. And so I think that those people are something that we should strive for. Like they would inspire me. They inspire me. I've talked to them personally, and they inspire me on many levels outside of veterinary medicine. How does that sound? And so I think that is really important. But jokes in there. I joke that maybe Justine has like a room filled with that sweet scoop, or whatever she loves. She's rolling around in a room like that. I don't know. Marty Becker, I joke, is the father of the pastel-colored scrub top. Ernie Ward, you are in incredibly great shape, but I bet you're a chocoholic. I bet you eat a lot of chocolate. I'm just kidding. No one I know would have an issue with any one of those people being a keynote speaker at a veterinary conference. So that's one thing. So what defines controversial, and why should you have someone who's controversial? I personally don't think you should. The second thing is the concept of bad-mouthing vets. So I'm reading that Dr. Jeff has made some comments about some other vets. And not to come to his defense, but we see that all the time. We see vets not saying good things about other vets, and there are some justifications to that. I mean, some people say some things and they back it up with a lot of strong hard data or evidence, everything like that. I think that, and we're faced with that on a daily basis. If we're the second opinion of a case, we have that opportunity to actually, if we have the opportunity that we're actually looking at the case as someone who's already been through the case, we get all that background and look at things. And I think that if we find there was a mistake made or a different approach taken, we have that opportunity to say something negative about that. But I think it's equally important not to say something negative. There's the common trends that I've seen as a practicing clinician are, there are those vets out there who give steroid for everything. There are vets out there that choose not to have a second person monitoring anesthesia while they do a protocol. There's a veterinarian out there that changes up vaccine distributors, vaccine companies all the time due to pricing, and doesn't believe in non-adjuvant vaccines for cats. So those are things that, we're given the opportunity to talk about, but I'd like to take the opportunity and start educating about the importance of using non-adjuvant vaccines in cats, about the importance of having proper anesthetic monitoring, about the importance of not using steroid as a band-aid for everything. I think those are avenues to go without really bad-mouthing someone. So that's something that I think needs to be addressed as well, is that bad-mouthing doesn't benefit our practice. And so say what you will about anybody, it's important to then turn that around and say what can we do, what can we talk about that's going to benefit the profession. But I think the biggest point here is standards of care. I think standards of care speak for themselves. They are, our governing body created a level of care that, by our oath that we swore as veterinarians, is to live by and perform by. And if you're not meeting those standards of care, I think that is not right. You're not doing right by your patients. You're really not doing right by your clients. And it can strongly be argued that you could have a low cost, low pricing practice, but still meet the standards of care for the proper care of that pet. So to say that the only practices that do that are expensive, or even going as far as saying they're ripping people off, I mean, no, I think that you can do it. And ironically, the low cost practices that surround me, I'm in the Princeton area, so I'm in a fairly affluent area, but low cost practices surround me have such a high volume that they could easily do better standards of care. So I think that it's interesting, and they actually gross more money than a volume that's not as busy. And so in the end, the owners actually do very well. And so I think there's opportunity to actually do standards of care. And it's just interesting. This is a practice near me that does probably below standards of care medicine, yet very popular, very well known, super high volume. And it's all about our ability to convince people that what we're doing is the best for them. I think that we have very strong power as veterinarians, that we can convince people to do what we want them to do in the exam room. And I think that the onus, the moral, ethical thing is on us to make sure that the right thing is done, and do right by the patient and do right by the client. And I think that you can do that. You can do that in a low-cost practice. I think there's definitely ways of doing that. So I think, in summary, that, you know, don't be controversial unless it's a good controversial thing. Don't really badmouth vets. That's not cool. And finally, you know, you can live up to the standards of care. You know, those of us who chose to do AHA standards of care, we chose to go that extra mile, meeting those over 999 or 1,000 criteria that increases. Because to me, it keeps us on our toes, keeps us progressive, which is what I'm all about. And we can do standards of care and still offer affordable pet health care. So that's my take on it. You know, let's see how it plays out. Love to hear what you have to say. So comment, it'd be awesome. But most importantly, everyone, love your pet like they love you, unconditionally. Have a great day.